Hey everybody, welcome back to New Stuff TV, the untechnical tech channel. I'm your host, Antoine Blacked Out Pixel Richardson, because today we're going to be taking a look at the LG B4 in the 65-inch variant. Now look, full disclosure, this is actually the first OLED TV I've actually checked out personally in my home. I've seen them all over the place. I've been to Best Buy, I've been to CEDIA, I've been to CES, I've seen OLEDs, but until now, I've never experienced an OLED in my house. And you know what? I'm actually very surprised. I always thought OLEDs were kind of like one-trick ponies, to where they just perform better in low light. And like, you know, I always felt like mini LEDs were a more versatile TV. And in a lot of ways, I still feel that way. But the LG B4 really, it humbled me, man. I'm a humbled man and I'm all about OLED now. Well, that's a lie. Look, TVs are great. It doesn't matter which one it is, but let me tell you something. This B4, it's a champ in a lot of ways. First, the brightness. I was very surprised at how bright this TV got in pretty much any condition. I have it in my media room and we got can lights up top. We got lights coming from the sides, from the window and the open foyer, and it's just a great performing TV in all kinds of light. It handles reflections well. When the lights are on, you know, of course you can see like lights and stuff because it's got a glossy screen, but in the way of reflections, like, you know, being bright enough to kind of, you know, take them out of there. Like if you got a window off to the side, it does a good job at getting bright enough to where you can't even see that reflection. So that was a very impressive thing right off the top, because that's actually what I was looking for, because I'm thinking OLEDs are one-trick ponies. But no, man, the B4 definitely humbled me. Next, we're going to talk about the contrast. It's an OLED, so we're talking infinite contrast. When I say blacked out pixel, I mean blacked out pixel. Things just have more of a just more depth. Like, it's like, you know, when you're looking at things that like go from light to black, it's just like there's nothing there. It's like a void of light because it's off. Like that's just the nature of the beast when you're talking about OLED. So we're talking infinite contrast with this thing, man. And I got it with some of the content I watched, such as the Batman. I have to tell y'all the story when I get to the content I watched about how I have rewatched the Batman. I've given that movie way too much time in my life, but it has redeemed itself. Anyways, contrast is great. But when you talk about contrast, you can't really help but shuffle yourself over to the category of color accuracy. And let me tell you, man, I do have my things that I watch to gauge my color accuracy. I don't pull out charts and stuff like that. I don't calibrate TVs. I just watch certain shows that look great to me. And one of them was, okay, fine, it's The Diplomat. You guys guessed it. I love watching that show on Netflix because I know what those colors are supposed to look like. And the B4 actually performs. You know what? I was like rooting against it. I was like, no, there's no way this TV could be that good. But man, it reproduced the colors just like they were supposed to do. And then any of the other content I watched, nothing looked too off or saturated, which brings me to the picture settings. All of them are there, including filmmaker mode. But this TV also has a bunch of AI built into it that's just integrated throughout the entire TV, even when you're watching certain content, because it'll kind of scan the content that you're watching, figuring out what it is, and then it'll actually adjust to provide you the best way that content is supposed to be delivered according to all the picture settings that are available. But if you're one of the pros, you know what I'm saying, it has enough settings in there for you to toggle everything on and off or scale it to whatever you want it to be, so you can have the picture that you want instead of AI figuring it out for you. Now here's something I only heard about when it came to OLED TVs, and that is like image retention or burn-in or something like that. This TV has built-in OLED care. Yeah, there's actually a section in the settings that says OLED care. You can go in there. Dude, this is so clutch. It has pixel cleaning, so I don't even know what that is, but apparently your pixels need to be cleaned sometimes. But it also has a setting that allowed you to adjust logo brightness. This is so clutch, because I watch a lot of HD TV and the Magnolia channel. Look, don't judge me, man. I'm a homeowner. I like watching people destroy their houses and spend ungodly amounts of money to make them look pretty, because I can't afford to do that crap. Anyways, there's always a logo sitting on the bottom right of the TV. And what it does is you can adjust the brightness of it. So if it's like really bright, and you don't want it to like burn in your image or whatever, you can actually reduce that. So the TV is smart enough to be able to do that. That is freaking crazy. pixel control that apparently you can only really get from an OLED TV, and LG's doing it. But the TV can only be so self-aware. At some point, you're gonna have to interact with this thing, and that's where you get into the interface and the remote. The interface is WebOS. So WebOS is going WebOS, homie. It's LG's proprietary interface that has literally everything in it, from stuff for the kids to gaming to even office work if you work from home and you want a bigger screen versus your laptop or desktop monitor. But that's where I take you to this magic remote. LG, we need to figure out a way to actually take off the cursor. I don't like the cursor. You know, I tried to get used to it on my old LG TVs and everything, but I never really used it because, you know, you're just kind of trying to point this thing at stuff. So I wish that there was a way to actually turn it off, like turn off the cursor like for good, forever. This is kind of like that remote, or not remote, but that start stop feature on your car. Like, you see how it can be useful, right? But you wish you could just turn it off like permanently to where when you start the car again, it doesn't come on. So LG, could you work on that? A way we could actually permanently disable the little cursor. But once you get past that, whether you're using it or not, you're using the remote. And another thing I wish the remote had was lights, backlights. I don't know if they're more premium TVs such as the C4 and the G4. I don't know if they have backlit remotes, but I really wish I could get some lights on this thing, because when we were watching the Batman last night, I was trying to reach for like the settings and stuff, and I haven't memorized this remote yet. So I didn't know where the input button was or the settings button was. So I just kind of had to take my phone up to it. You know, I just wish there was a few, it doesn't have to be like completely backlit, like maybe just, you know, a handful of buttons, but that would be great if this had it. But if you don't feel like using the remote, or you simply just can't find that joker, you can always download the LG remote app on your phone, and it has everything. Seriously, it's a full scale remote on your phone, to the point where you can have a widget on your home screen if you got an Android phone. Now, y'all know I be doing some gaming, right? So I plugged up the PS5 to the back of this joker. It's got 4 HDMI ports. So I plugged my PS5 into port 4, and that gave me 4K 120 gaming, baby. It was nice and fluid. Oh, by the way, before we get into that gaming experience, let me tell y'all how clutch. I'm a cold piece with that revolver on The Last of Us. Man, I've been working on my headshots. I used to kind of suck at it, but man, I'm a cold piece. I'm surgical with that revolver. Anyways. I've digressed a little bit. I had to brag a little bit. But the 4K 120 gaming was excellent, man. Very fluid with the motion. The colors were perfect. Like, I have no complaints about the gaming. Everything was just awesome. Oh, and it does have a game bar. Got a couple things in there for you to delve into to enhance your gaming experience. Now, if you're anything like me, you always sit down in front of the TV because you're the king of your castle and you are watching TV dead on, right? But if you happen to have some family members, or you happen to get shuffled to the edge of the couch, don't worry about off-axis viewing. It's an OLED TV, man, and this one is no exception to the rule. I did not find a single like bit of distortion or discoloration going like 180 degrees offside of this TV. So viewing angles are just 100% there with perfect picture. Now, I've already talked about some of the content I watched, but we'll go back to the Batman. Let me tell you, I have given that movie way too much time of my life, but I'm glad I did, because I had to go back and watch it because I'm watching the OLED TV. I wanted to watch something dark. My wife suggested I go back and watch the Batman, and against all better judgment, I did. Okay, I never liked that movie, but now, since I've actually finished the Penguin, it makes the Batman that much more enjoyable. I actually like the movie now, but it is stupid long. I never paid attention to how long it was, but it is a really long movie, but it is good. You just got to be in the right mindset. And the Penguin, watching the Penguin first might help you do that. Anyways, in this particular instance, I actually got to see a lot of details in his suit, because the OLED, okay, I'm able to get so much contrast, like literally infinite contrast with that suit, and I'm able to see all the details, and it's like, you know, everything. Next piece of content I watched was Sheldon, Young Sheldon. Man, I really like that show. It cracks me up, especially that first season. You got to catch the first season of Young Sheldon. It looked really, really smooth and almost lifelike. I love the way they shot that show. In more of a movie format, like 24 frames a second versus where normal TV shows are shot. But I don't know, this TV just kind of brought it a little bit more to life. Everything was very smooth and cinematic looking, and I love the textures that you could see in their skin and stuff like that. So detail is there, color's there, and let's not forget about that infinite contrast. Now, as far as physical attributes of the TV, it is super light and super thin. Okay, it's got like this big booty in the back that sticks out a little bit. So between the TV being so thin, like the panel itself, and then you got that booty on the back, Mine is sitting on the TV stand, but if you actually hung this up on a wall, I can see how like it would look like it was floating on the wall, especially if you put like some LEDs on the back of it for some bias lighting. That would be so pretty to have that thing just floating on the wall because of the overall design. But the thing that I don't like about a lot of TV manufacturers do this, TV manufacturers, if you're gonna make TVs, make the legs, adjustable or at least wide enough for your biggest soundbar, because this particular size TV, the 65-inch variant, the distance between the legs will not allow the S90TR soundbar to fit between them. So you have to push the TV back a little bit, and then you can put that soundbar in front if you're gonna put it on a TV stand. Otherwise, if you're on a wall, you're gonna be okay. But that would be the only thing I could find wrong with the TV. Other than that, it's been a fantastic experience, especially for my first OLED TV experience in home. I am thoroughly impressed. This is like a good entry into OLED territory. So if you were somebody who was kind of like on the fence, should I go OLED or not? Or I don't know what your deal is, whether it's the expensive OLED, because they can get kind of pricey. I say this is a good one to try out, man. LG, I really do appreciate you sending this bad boy over here. It has been a fantastic experience. I don't know, man. Once you go OLED, will you go back? I don't know. We'll just have to see. But until I see y'all again, keep being good to each other, and I'll see you when I see you.